My name is Adam Daifallah. I was a scholar in 2004-2005. I'm originally from Peterborough, Ontario, which is about an hour and a half north of Toronto. And I live and work in Montreal. I've stayed here since I was a scholar. And I have my own company, which is called Hatley Strategy Advisors. It's a public affairs consulting firm with offices in Montreal and Quebec City. I teach at McGill, 2 courses, and I do some writing in my spare time, some political journalism. My year was very interesting. I had a very definite project that I wanted to do, which is why I applied for the program in the first place. I was writing a book with a colleague, and I really needed some time away from my job so that I could finish writing the manuscript with her. I was working at the National Post at the time in Toronto, so I was using it first of all to finish that book and really complete the work necessary to get a good manuscript done, and second to figure out what I wanted to do next with my life, because I'd been in journalism and I wanted to transition to something else. I see it as a year of transition for me, where I moved out of my previous life, which was in journalism, and I wrote the book, which was kind of my last hurrah. I still do some journalism freelance part-time. And the transition to my next phase, which was going to law school and then becoming a lawyer, it really helped me take off as a part of Montreal. And it's one of the reasons I was able to stay here and do well here was the support from Sauvé and the people around the foundation. The purpose of the book was to write a manifesto of sorts for the conservative movement in Canada. So the book was almost a how-to guide based on other models that had worked around the world, principally in the US and in Britain. So it was almost like a manual for conservatives in Canada. So aside from the regular things that scholars do, like interacting a lot with each other and going on trips and learning new things and hanging out at McGill, I also did a lot of research and writing. So it was a fairly intensive year for me, but one of great accomplishment and a lot of fun. It was fairly easy, which is, I guess, a little counterintuitive, just because it was such a diverse group. You'd think that there might be some clashes or difficulties of some kind, but there really was not. It was a very respectful and diverse group, very respectful of differences. You know, they're all over the world now doing very interesting things, and I still keep in touch with them. So I think my overall biggest memory was just getting to know these people and interesting exchanges and experiences with the other scholars, with the guest speakers too. Well, one of the scholars in our year was Andrew Green, and Andrew had been raised in Sierra Leone, so he had the experience growing up through civil wars, and you know, to compare that to the sheltered and very privileged upbringing that I had, I think to me what was fascinating about that is that you could have people of such different backgrounds and of such different degrees of difficulty of growing up that could all come together and live harmoniously and in an equal status. I don't like that term, but I can't think of a better one, in this house together for a year, where it was a level playing field for all, despite the very different ways that we had gotten here. I'd say the main impact on my day-to-day work life would be just that it allows me to work with people who are very different from me and have very different views from me more easily. I think it just exposed me to people and ideas and cultures that I didn't have experience with before. I was from a small town and very culturally homogenous upbringing. So I think for me it was just an eye-opener to get to know people from different religions, cultures, backgrounds, and that it just gave me a greater appreciation of the diversity around the globe, and it just taught me a lot about the way the world really is.